So hey guys, welcome back to another week. Hope you like my little lights on. It's super cute, These are little, I don't even know what to call them, but they look like little raindrops dropping down. There's actually a couple settings, so you can make them twinkle, make it a rave. Maybe we'll have a rave for the next video. Who knows? I promised a mukbang, so now I'm promising a rave. So this is my videos are turning out to be something. Wow. So basically for this week we did a lot about the research module, which was really interesting to me just because um, it talks a lot about specifically the method section and then a lot about format, which is really interesting to me and really important, especially because I do make a lot of papers for my psychology classes and format is really important. So it's really good to get another understanding on that. So let's just start off the video. So the first question, well, what was something that you learned from this week's materials that perhaps you had heard about before in terms of researching slash writing, but you had found useful revisiting again? There was four things that I found. The first one was verb tense. I found this really interesting just because no one really talked to me about verb tense in writing. Specifically, I remember in English classes always talking about talking in, I believe it's present tense, or just always talking in strictly one verb tense throughout the whole paper. But it was really helpful to see at the end of that presentation what verb tenses should be used in each specific section, which is really nice and really helpful. So I'm going to keep that in mind. The other thing that was really helpful was the organization, especially of the methods section, because that's something that always really gets me confused. And I'm like, oh my God, well, what do I do? Do I do participants? And then like, what do I put next after that? Like, where do I put all that? And that goes next to the format, which I was always very confused because I do have the manual, which is like, which a bunch of teachers have recommended to me, but it's really hard sometimes just to look at a manual and be like, okay, well, it says that, but I'm confused. Like, because sometimes you can read stuff and still be confused after reading it and read it more and more and you're like, what? And then you look at papers and you're like, I still don't get it. So it's really good to see how the format should be, and that presentation really helped me a lot to understand how the methods should be formatted, and that paper really also helped as well. And the last thing was the use of the methods section, which I honestly never really thought about because I've had a lot of knowledge on the introduction, the results, discussions, stuff like that from prior classes, but a lot of classes haven't talked about the methods section, and the definition that was described says the methods section describes the study in detail. Specifically, it said the introduction is basically the why you're doing this study, while the methods section is talking about the how, so people can better replicate it in the future and see how you did the study. So that was really interesting to me and really helped clarify that. The second question was, what do you personally feel is the muddiest point? And I honestly felt the muddiest point was format, especially about the methods section, because it is really daunting to see all this kind of like, you need to have this centered, bold, whatever, left face, bold, capital first. It's so much. Formatting can be so daunting, and like it's just so scary sometimes to think about how like one little thing can lead to a point deduction in some professors. So it was definitely the muddiest point at first, but going through everything, it really this week's module really helped clear that up. And the third question, if you had one tip of your own to share with the class in terms of setting yourself up to get a great grade on a paper or presentation, what would it be? Honestly, my tip would be to make sure your format is on point and make sure you don't don't make sure you don't slack on it, because some professors obviously do care a lot about the format and want the format to be perfectly APA, MLA, whatever. So make sure your citations are correct. Make sure that you have a running head. Make sure that things that are supposed to be capitalized are capitalized. Things that are supposed to be lowercase are lowercase. Make sure everything that's supposed to be centered is centered. Make sure everything that's left flushed is supposed to be. Make sure everything's bolded is bolded. Make sure you have page numbers. I know it seems like a lot, but personally, if you just go through everything and make sure like you have everything like a little checklist, it just makes sure that it just makes it sorry. It just helps you know that you're not going to get points taken off for something that you shouldn't get points taken off for, if that makes sense. So definitely pay close attention to the format because it'll help you. And also it just makes the organization so much better. But yeah, that's it for this week. And I hope everything goes great for you guys and have a great rest of your week.